Good morning. This is the day before I leave. So whether or not I post this tonight or tomorrow, there's some things I'm bringing with me that most people traveling usually don't think about bringing or don't bring at all, especially going on a long-term trip, or things that, based on where I'm going, might be surprising. The first thing that people wouldn't recognize me buying would be this guy right here, which is the UK plug adapter. I do have a layover in England for a day and then a layover in Dublin on the way back, so I will be needing these guys, this guy right here, to charge things. Also, I am taking a British airline, so I have no idea if they're going to have American plugs, UK plugs, or both, so keeping that on the carry-on just in case. The kind of expensive thing that I'm bringing is the cell phone. I looked into Verizon's plan. Actually, my mom looked into them. The ones that I would need for like data and whatnot, they're $10 a day for Verizon, that at least. Whereas I can pay about $20 for a 5 gig plan in Poland. So $20 plus 100 and whatever for the phone is a lot less than the $300 that Verizon would be charging. So it is worth it, especially considering I'm spending a month and data in Eastern Europe, or at least Central Europe, is relatively cheap because of the them not using the euro yet, and probably ever. So there is that I'm getting. Another thing, which is something that would not surprise people, is I am bringing a battery pack. This guy right here is like a dozen phone charges in it. It takes like 12 hours to charge it, but I can get a dozen phone charges out of this. And surprisingly, the camera that I'm using for this will not take a 240 charge, or even with the phone plugs that actually will convert it to the 5 volts whatever amps. The camera does not like that anyway, so kind of need the battery pack for that. The battery pack will take a 240, so okay. And so the last couple things I'm gonna bring are money related. It would be this. This is a little money pouch. It kind of goes on the inside of your pocket, whereas I basically, like, if this were your pants, you would just slip it in on the inside. Your shirt would go over it, and then you would have your money on your hip and not be able to see it, and possibly an ID, because I actually can't fit my driver's license in here. So there's that. People do recommend, I know this is the stereotypical thing as you'll see on sites, is the money belt, which is basically something, this sucker this big, wrapped, literally like a sucker this big, wrapped around your chest at all times with all your cash, passports, wallet, everything in it, right here or somewhere in this area all day long for the entire trip, which doesn't get, which is uncomfortable, and honestly you shouldn't be carrying your passport around from what I understand for the most part, or if you do, you should really be keeping it a lot safer than strapped to you in a really uncomfortable spot. Whereas this guy would just slip right on the inside of the pant and I would not have to worry about it. So speaking of which, the last thing I actually am bringing is this guy. This is something one of my mom's friends, Tracy, got for me. The only thing I'm really doing is keeping it for the flight to keep like passports and money in it. And yeah, I do have two different types of money in here. I do have British pounds for my English money for my layover in London, and then the rest of this is zloty, which is Polish money. If I can have is like this Polish money. It is zloty. This is 10, this is 20, 50 British pound. And as far as I know, Poland is really big on being exact if you're paying in cash, which could be a thing with smaller stores and not so much big stores. Because one video series says their ATM machines do give out hundreds, which, given how violent I've heard people can get about exact change, surprises me. Like, it doesn't make sense that the country where literally, I've actually read blog posts where people have had change thrown at them for because they tried to pay a 20 for like a 6 zloty item. So yeah, I've heard of that actually happening to people, and I don't understand why a culture that exact would ever design their ATM machines to give out hundreds for when the zloty isn't that horrible when it comes to purchasing power, at least within Poland. I mean, outside of Poland it sucks, but at least within Poland it's actually not bad. Like, I've actually heard that you can get a half kilo of fruit, which is about a pound, for about 75 cents, or give or take 2 or 3 zloty. So purchasing power isn't awful, but so I don't understand why they wouldn't be giving out either 20s or 50s instead of hundreds, or that could just be a myth, something that only happens in 1 or 2 different banks, and not all banks do that. I don't know. I will find out. I will make a video about that, because that is actually kind of an interesting phenomenon, them and exact change in what their ATM machines give out. Because Poland is still a very cash-based economy. You really don't, they don't do a lot of ATMs. Like, the thing that surprised me the most, about the train system is that, at least the state railway, is they don't do like Amtrak or an airline would do, which is just you put in your card number and all of that information and reserve the ticket. They actually make you go through MasterPass, which is kind of MasterCard's PayPal. I don't know why, they just do it. And for whatever reason, my credit card that I have, my personal one, will not, even though it's MasterCard, is not accepted for some reason into MasterPass. I don't understand why. So yeah, I will have to go and pay for a train ticket, at least a few of them, in person or on a machine with either cash or a card in Poland. So one of my first day trips is literally going to be to go to the downtown station, pay 160 zloty for a round-trip ticket to and from Suwałki, which is where my family is from. And for those of my family that are watching, it is Suwałki if you actually look at the spelling. It's the L with the line, which is the W. Go figure. If I put it up, hopefully I'll put it up, because still figuring out the editing. Like I said, I've gone from version 18 to version 20, so there's some new stuff that I haven't really learned yet. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. The last video will be somewhere. The next video will also be somewhere. See you in the next one. Bye.